Hi everybody, I'm Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
I just wanted to say a couple things as a healthcare worker and a uterus haver and a human. Legally, ectopic pregnancy is a pregnancy, even though it is not a viable pregnancy. Legally, flushing the uterus of a person who's miscarried is performing an abortion, even if that person is bleeding out, even if that person is dying. Legally, there are so many hoops practitioners have to jump through and such a lack of clarity on what is and isn't legal that OBGYN clinics are beginning to leave states with trigger laws going into effect. To be clear, OBGYN clinics have been leaving these states previous to the ruling last Friday due to restrictions. The US has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. The states with trigger laws going into effect are the states with the highest numbers of maternal mortality rates in this country. I highlight these points because they all signal a fact that we all already know. This isn't about abortion, it's about control. Ultimately, this affects marginalized groups most, LGBTQIA+, BIPOC, disabled, and poor communities of reproductive age are left with little to no resources for ongoing sex education and reproductive health care, including birth control, abortion, and pregnancy resources. A very simple thing people can do every day is to normalize and destigmatize abortion through our language. Abortion stigma is a set of attitudes, beliefs, conscious or unconscious, that abortion is bad, shameful, or wrong. It's present all over our society, in our government and politics, media, pop culture, schools, hospitals, religious institutions, and in the conversations that we have every day with our family and our friends. And we all contribute to it. There are 4 simple examples that I bring to you today, and 4 examples of how to change these in our language. 1, instead of saying, overturning Roe is a war on women, which uses exclusionary language and creates a stigma about who receives and who gets to talk about abortion, say overturning Roe is a war on uterus havers or a war on people in need of abortion. Gender nonconforming people, trans men, and non-binary people need to be included in this conversation because it affects them too. 2, instead of viewing abortion as heartbreaking or sad, listen to the experience of abortion havers. Ask yourself why you think it's sad and challenge your beliefs. Abortions aren't heartbreaking or sad for every person who has one, and it's not fair or appropriate for you to attribute your feelings to another person's experience. Abortion is a complex personal decision that an individual makes, and whatever they feel about it is the right feeling. 3, instead of using euphemisms like women's health care, reproductive choice, or termination of pregnancy, say abortion unapologetically. These terms are vague and indirect. Attempting to disguise abortion behind them gives the anti-abortion opposition control over the narrative. And lastly, when referring to, I have 5, I'm sorry. Not lastly, second to lastly, when referring to opposition, instead of calling them pro-life, call them anti-abortion. If they were pro-life, they would be pro-universal health care. They would be pro-paid parental time off, pro-sex education, pro-birth control, pro-climate action, pro so many things that they are opposed to. Pro-forced pregnancy, that's right. And lastly, instead of saying keep abortion rare, which implies that abortion is something that you should be apologetic for and that should happen only under certain circumstances, say keep abortion legal, accessible, and affordable. There is no right and wrong reason for an abortion. I want to acknowledge again that each of us contribute to abortion stigma in some way. I also want to acknowledge that each of us are complex and are growing and learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. I encourage you to think about your own views and your own blind spots around abortion and to challenge them. Destigmatizing abortion feels like a small thing that may take longer to create larger change. especially when compared to some of these amazing actions that we have here. Remember that by breaking down the beliefs that don't serve us, we begin to create a world that will. Thank you for listening. Please take care of your hearts right now and be gentle with yourself. I know it's a really hard time. And rage. I love you.